And that's all she wrote. No more DeShaun Foster at UCLA.
It wasn't a dream. It really happened.
Now, you knew what time it was as soon as he took that L to New Mexico. And shout out to E, because E told me first and foremost, he's not going to be able to make it through this entire season. Now, I thought DeShaun Foster would have eventually got in his bag and coached those guys up to at least one W. But UCLA said, F that. 3-0. We haven't been 3-0 since what, 2017, something of that nature. DeShaun, it's time for you to go. And DeShaun Foster was a product of that Dion wave. He was a product of former players being able to come in and coach. Now, we saw what happened with Mike Vick. We saw what happened to D-Jack. These are names of guys who got into coaching after their playing days, similar to Prime. We saw Ed Reed was going to do it, but he had that viral situation over there at Bethune-Cookman. We saw Prime initiate a wave of former players into coaches. Not to say these guys weren't already thinking about being coaches or didn't have that somewhere down in their arsenal. That could very well be the case. Cool. But Prime helped lead the way. He helped spark that charge to get these guys up and at them and calling plays, calling the shots, as they should, right? Well, doubling back to DeShaun Foster, Coach Foster, he was a prime beneficiary to the Prime effect. We got to call a spade a spade. Him being a former player at UCLA, him playing in the league for about 6-7 years, mostly with the Panthers, a little bit with the 49ers. He's made his runs. Now, we all know how it could be as a black head coach. I'm not making excuses. I'm not saying give these black coaches a try. I'm just saying, damn, if it's an even playing field, give guys jobs. But when you give a guy a job, he's got to be able to deliver. And DeShaun Foster was not able to deliver with UCLA. Now, maybe he needed a little bit more time. I got inside sources over there at UCLA saying he was still playing with Chip's guys. He didn't bring in the guys who he really needed to fulfill those roles. He was playing with a lot of Chip leftovers. But like I said, in this climate, in this transfer portal climate, you are not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And we got to admit, UCLA attendance has been horrible. It's been piss poor. DeShaun Foster was supposed to come in and change that. He was supposed to get asses in seats. They're not in the seats. This is UCLA at the end of the day. LA. And LA got to look like a somebody. They looking like the Clippers. No disrespect to the Clippers. They just had a decent season. But you get what I'm saying. Baby bro to SC. When UCLA joined that Big Ten to hopefully make some noise. It's boo-boo. I understand it's rebuilding season, but it's boo-boo. So now you ask, what happens to the coaches? Of course they're going to get an interim coach up in there. Of course they're going to get an interim coach in there. You know, they can't just hire a new head coach during the season like that. They got to get the interim in there. And then from there, man, that staff is 9 times out of 10 pretty much gone. There goes my UCLA source. We'll see how this whole thing pans out. But Nico being a star of this situation, not just DeShaun Foster leaving, but Nico also opting to sit out of games due to mental health. Now, if I'm calling this a spade, and if I'm an NFL scout, I'm probably knocking this because I got a question. Are you going to be able to get through these tough, playoff situations without you giving up due to your mental health? Are you going to be sitting out games when we need you to come out and perform? These are the questions that scouts are asking. But on the flip side, let's not forget, this is a business at the end of the day. Did Nico come in with DeShaun Foster and he said, you know what, if my coach isn't playing, I'm not going to go out there and make myself look like a fool? You guys let go the guy who brought me in. You guys let go the dude who I was most comfortable with. Hell no, I'm not playing. Just run me my money. Is it in the contract that they have to pay Nico outright the money that he came over to UCLA to play for? it's just been hell, man, and it hasn't been looking good. This is the horrible side effects of what can happen when NIL and transfer portal just goes up in smoke, goes up in flames. Nico is finding this out firsthand. I don't think we've seen a situation like this before. DeShaun Foster fired after 3 games. Former NFL, you know what I'm saying? Former UCLA Bruin, fired after 3 games. But not only him getting fired and thrown out of his head coaching position, but now you have the starting quarterback saying, I don't want to play. I can't play due to my mental health. I'm good on this. Something is telling me this is just to preserve his draft stock. No reason to put out a shitty product when you're going to get judged off of it. You know, a lot of scouts have said Nico isn't necessarily the problem. They need a ton of more weapons around him. You need guys around him to be able to shine, right? Not saying that he's not a good player. I'm saying you get guys around him, it's going to take up his level of play. But with this talent, it's just not cutting it for Nico, man. And I think he said, you know what? I can't play. I got to sit out. Because if I go out there and I put this shit on film, the scouts are going to have something and they're going to be able to really dig into my game and not necessarily pay me what I'm worth. But these 3 games right here, these 3 games let everybody know what the deal is, though. So it's like regardless of how much film you show, people are still going to be resorting back to these 3 games. People are still going to be saying, well, damn, Nico, you left Tennessee. You left a good thing over at Tennessee. For what? To get exposed? For everybody to be able to critique your game and your downfalls? Cool. I mean, you get through this, amazing, because you will be touted as a guy who could really get through adversity. But when you throw the mental health label on it, it's like, can you be my franchise quarterback? Because I can't have you pulling a mental health card 4th and 3rd in the Super Bowl and we depending on you to make a play. We depending on you to pick up that 3 yards. You know what I mean? Like, I can't have you talking about mental health and the moment is a little bit too big. I feel like the transfer portal and all of this dough that's involved are giving guys excuses to pretty much wiggle out of performing when it's time. No way this happens. And, you know, Nico's going to be used as an example of guys who are not going to be allowed to do this. I'd be shocked if they don't put, well, nah, some team going to pick him up. Somebody going to pick him up. Of course somebody going to pick him up. But I would be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an AP out on Nico saying, don't let him into your program. The same way they kind of did Shedeur Sanders. Nico was thinking he can bully his way, SEC, Big Ten. He's thinking he has all of these rights and all of these options. Don't be so quick to think you safe. Don't get too comfortable to where these people won't rip the rug from under you, Nico. These people will make an example out of you. I understand you doing big things, but if you can make it through this, great. Make it through this adversity. But don't think that these people won't make this shit a living hell for you. You go to Tennessee, take money. You go to UCLA, take money. You're not performing in these places, these people are going to find a way to get their money back. They're not going to let you get over. They're going to find a way to get their money back. I'm just telling you what it is, man. So this situation, man, it's been an eye-opener. It's been an example for anybody who's after the money. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to go get that bag. Lord knows what could happen tomorrow. Your career could be done. You got to take advantage of your opportunities. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying that the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Had Nico stayed at Tennessee and been running it up and doing the same thing Alvarez is doing up over there, right? Aguilar, Alvarez, no disrespect to old boy that's over there at Tennessee right now. But if Nico was in that same position, he'd be doing the same thing. His stock would be the same, if not better. You get what I'm getting at? Like, You're able to do that in the SEC, it still goes further than the Big Ten. And when you're performing bottom barrel Big Ten status, when Purdue is outdoing you, when Barry Odom them is outdoing you, it's a problem. It's an issue. DeShaun Foster, Nico dropping out, no longer playing due to mental health issues. UCLA is all but finished. UCLA done been called everything in the book but a child of God, man. They're done. Finito. So, man, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. How do you feel about Nico pretty much jumping ship, calling it quits 3 games into the season? 9 times out of 10 is not coming back because he doesn't want to put any more shit show film out there. How do y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel about DeShaun Foster? Was the firing worthy? Did we need to get somebody new up in there as head coach to make a change? Does UCLA even really want to change? Them players kind of look like they already gave up on the season. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about this, man. Hey, it's the failed athlete. That don't mean you got to fail in life.